Ultimate Championships here at Ngā Punawai Sports Hub in Christchurch. As always, the Taniwha facing off against the Barbarians as our wind has settled down a lot over the course breeze, which we'll talk through in a moment, and 20 degrees, so starting to cool down as we hit that 6:30. Becky, what do you think about the Taniwha side that we've got on screen in front of us now?
I think it's very strong. So I think it's going to be a great fight.
So we've got Lockie Robertson, Aaron Neal, moment huddle before they initiate things.
Chaos, so it's been really cool to see the showcase of players we have.
Could not be more excited to see it. Nauman with the big lefty pull.
Very deep into the end zone.
Great coverage there, but Haberfield manages to keep it secure, finds Troy Stevenson. Marvelous DC's Birdman. Looking like Taniwha coming out in a vertical stack, trying to create some momentum rather, for them to keep working up and down the field. Haberfield sends the bomb to Mr. Consistent. But Hoban
to pick up.
The blue bomber from AUUC's Flood, and this season from Wildcats. He's got a big cannon. We've seen him put those long shots up. Anthony Haney with a great undercut. Covered now by Michael Downey. Puts a bomb up of his own. A beautiful first. Putting one up. We'll get to see that again. A two-pass offense. The blue bomber to Billy Ray Skyrus himself, the talent from Tennessee. Winds up the right arm. Sees the open receiver, McIntosh, covered by Boardman. A great bid. Canterbury region. A spin pull, absolute monster of a shot. But we've talked a little bit about how Credo as a club have managed, they're one of the only clubs still going XY in the open division, despite having the talent there. Most of the other clubs that have entered two teams have gone with an A-B split, a stronger team and a slightly less talented team. Taniwha with possession. Haberfield putting one out in front of Yo, but great bid, not enough to get it.
Not quite.
That first fantastic break by Barbarians rather, maybe enough to shake them up a little bit. As we start to work the disc back the other way, sends the long bomb up. Haberfield's gonna get underneath it. Great read, and get fence like that. Haberfield doing such fantastic work in terms of fitness and conditioning in his regular day job, and clearly bringing it out to show the kind of work or the results that hard work can achieve.
Looks like Barbarians are coming down with some type of junk zone.
So looking to occupy space rather than isolate the player matchups. Yo making great work through that zone. Taniwha patient with the disc, not willing to give up a second point without putting one of their own on the board. Some great disc movement, but four players at times around that player with the disc. Some great defense by Barbarians, but once a zone has been broken, once the defense is out of position, it can't continue to do its job. So great movement by Yo to initiate that movement of the Taniwha offense around the zone. Van Turnhout on the mark. A great player, very confident handler in his own right. Knows how to seal off handlers on defense. Yo again, having just about every second touch on the disc this possession. Nothing developing in that downfield space. So they're having to keep using those chip shots. A cheeky scuba over the top to try and work up towards the end zone. Great fake by Haberfield, generating a bid.
Doing very well to be patient with it, just right on that end zone mark. Quite often it's easy to just bang it over or make a silly turn, but they're doing very well to just work it up slowly, and trusting their handlers.
That's exactly right, Becky. That's one of the key things with a zone. You want great performances there for the Barbarians, but in your game for the Canterbury Cannons against Hamatron this morning, they threw down a lot of zone against you. And again, when the wind conditions are great, you're exactly right. It's easy to go over the top, but that's what a zone's looking to do, right? Waller with a great pull. Responds with a big rip from the Barbarians. Peter Hoban burying head in great position to close it out. What an impossible shot. Look at the way he buries his head. Clean separation from the two Taniwha defenders. And that one there for the big score. And again, we're still seeing those long options being taken, even though there's great defensive coverage getting underneath it. There's a lot of pressure on those discs. We saw Liam Haberfield generate a turn before. We saw Pete Hoban do the same over Joseph Panaya, Mr. Consistent. Troy Stevenson having to force his way back through the zone, finding Tom Fraser. A great thrower in his own right. Having to work around an aggressive mark. McIntosh putting great pressure on the defense. Haberfield pinned down on that far sideline. Joe Panaya, Troy Stevenson.
Looking big.
Peter Boardman, you could see them winding up those shots, having to holster them as nothing develops downfield. The players and fans in the stands are holding their breath. Such a tightly contested game. Barbarians ahead for the second time. A laser beam through to the near sideline, finding Michael Downey. Back to Liam Haberfield.
He's doing a really great job of just keeping it safe in that Hanley area, swinging it round. Nice up the line cut. Oh, massive bid.
Great layout to grab.
Oh!
And just really great work there. And again, we're seeing the clever disc movement by the Taniwha. They're using those wide swings to really test that defense, to chip open those holes and then know that they've got the discs to thread straight through them.
Oh,
a huge bid. Panaya Smith to Stevenson in the red zone, about 15 meters out from their own end zone. Great triangle movement, great give-and-go passes to generate an option. Peter Boardman, the lefty.
Bringing the score to 2-all.
We get to see that again. How lucky are we? Great movement by Joseph Panaya. Puts it straight across. Peter Boardman. Fantastic offensive players. Some great handlers as well. Players who have spent almost this entire tournament, despite the wind, putting long 30, 40, 50-meter shots up. Director for the recent New Zealand Secondary Schools Ultimate Championships, also brought to you by Sky Sport Next. Do check them out, see what the future of Ultimate looks like. Oh. And a layout bid to keep the disc in play, marked heavily by Cockram Fitzpatrick. Nauman.
Okay, really great swinging movement through the handlers.
Mercer with a flat laser beam to the far sideline, finding Campbell Nauman's safe hands. Oh, the terror on the faces of the players trying to get underneath it. Hamish Furness puts a big one up. Hoban King.
Not sure how the players would feel about that, but I'm sure the crowd is definitely rooting for that, the sounds of it.
Absolutely. Look at the joy on Hamish Furness's face as he gets underneath that disc. Puts a big forehand up, despite a great bid by Ben Wall. Huge pressure from the Barbarians defense. Fernando on that near sideline. A laser beam through and a quick turn.
Bit of miscommunication between the players.
Ben Waller putting great pressure on the marker. Definitely a miscommunication that time, but he managed. Just great work by Troy Stevenson to float that one out into space. Defender having... Big pull. Fielded by Whitlock to Mercer.
Streaking deep.
Whitlock with an unchallenged deep shot. Converts to a lateral cut to the far sideline. Van Turnhout finds him. Hoban. Near sideline, not quite run out, but his momentum carries it out, finds a reset in Mercer.
Looking deep.
Whitlock
nice
with a great grab. Somebody's going to make a gif out of that tonight. Great OI forehand.
Oh, so his name, yeah, his highlight reel of Nicholas Whitlock, and I just watched that, and it's just incredible to see his talent, his throws, his deep reads, it's just everything is just amazing.
What a fantastic point. Again, he winds up that hammer that he's known for, the blue bomber of AUUC Flood, with just a little bit of grit, a little bit of determination. Great pull from Nauman again, that left arm, an absolute ripper. Haberfield.
Barbarians coming down in that zone again, junkie zone.
A great hammer to go over the top, recognizing the wind is still enough that those overhead shots, those high discs are safe options.
Taniwha doing it well to swing it around that cup. That's really the aim of the zone, is to drag your defenders around, tire them out to get those easy through over the top, like we just saw through to the downfield players.
Ryan Sheridan putting a high disc up, finding Haberfield, who targets up that far sideline, finding Tom Fraser. Great handler from the southern region, quick recenter of the disc, fires one through.
Liam in the deep, signaling for that hammer, exactly what he wanted.
The win as he takes a knee, a classic lunge position. We'll see it again. And what we didn't get to see on the replay with the upraised arm, saying nice as some of the zone offense can be, and as interesting as that can be for fans of the game and players of the game, it really is those big shots that keep the people at home interested. Miller Mercer, Nick Whitlock.
Miller really wanting that deep, off he goes.
Sending the big one up.
Oh.
Possibly tiring players out for their final matches tomorrow. Pride being on the line, that is enough to make these players make these big plays. Huge layout blocks. Great work by Taniwha, cleanly moving the disc up the sideline. Great strike cut.
Furs open with no defender.
Now in a great position to close off. Nia Smith, despite great pressure from Miller Mercer, upon themselves to avoid wherever possible collisions with one another. But that can extend to pursuit interference. Defenders blocked from following their player actively through the avoidance of contact and not wanting to run through other players. Great coverage by Rutan there, shutting down that great undercut to our force side, which in this case was the forehand. Joe Nia-Smith getting separation from Miller Mercer, finding the disc only 5-10 meters out from his end zone. half hour of our showcase match. Again, just calm, patient with the disc. There it is, a long shot. With you playing for both the Canterbury Cannons and also for the Barbarians in our women's showcase match last night, is there anything that you'd be doing differently in this offense? Maybe if it were mixed or if it were a women's match?
It's really hard to say because men's is just such an intense, match. Just it's incredible to watch them just so tight on each other. So I'm really actually not sure how I would approach it in the women's sense, because it's just a completely different game. As you see, Dave with a massive block.
Far sideline, but it's not enough to put in a commanding performance, not just...
Fernando streaking deep, wanting that long put. The massive round swing.
Haberfield sends the long shot. Great look.
Oh.
Incredibly talented athletes. Look at the flight on that disc. You could not ask. Taniwha defense. Big pull. Almost lost in the setting sun. Hoban and Mercer continuing to work up that far sideline. Sending shots up. Oh, what a great...
Just ridiculous. You can
Talk
see
me through this replay.
He's looking deep. Massive IO from Lennart's. Full extension from Campbell. Absolutely incredible.
Oh, that's
highlight reel right there.
6-5 as the Barbarians. Perhaps another timeout call just to take a minute or so to ask.
The Taniwha team, really interested to see what sort of connections that they can utilise on this offensive point.
Absolutely, but by the same token, Becky, we've seen quite a few pairs of Wildcats shorts on the Barbarian side as well. Players who, for whatever reason, aren't on the men's team, maybe because they're already playing in that youth space or they're playing in that mixed space. So they're going to know what kind of connections are. They're going to know how fast their opposition are. Big shot goes up. Ben Waller, uncontested, great score. And we'll see that again. Troy Stevenson. Andrew Neal, the big shot goes up despite a great chase from the Barbarian defense. Ben Waller able to sheer joy of throwing long shots, of chasing them down. Haberfield with a massive pull. And Turnhout to Mercer. Hoban on that far sideline. Great defensive pressure, trying to initiate something. Throws past the initiating Mercer. Van Turnhout. Working the
Warren
disc.
looking deep.
Working the disc up the far sideline. Nick Whitlock puts the hammer up. Just Haberfield to start off for the Taniwha. Huge bid, but Fernando keeps it. Great foot movement there by Panaya Smith. Hard fake to the underspace, back towards the upfield. Committing Rutan, able to get separation to find the disc on that far sideline. It's exactly what the offense is looking for. Haberfield marked by Hoban. Close stab at it by Van Turnhout, but it's not enough. Haberfield now on the far sideline.
Panaya looking big.
Hoban shutting off the power huck up that far sideline. Has to look for Fernando instead. Fernando looking to go deep, covered by Whitlock. Matt Furs, centre field, exactly where he likes to be. Dangerous player in the handler or cutter space. Just great foot speed, great athleticism. And fantastic vision. A little snappy backhand, followed by a long shot to a wide there as the sun sets. As the sun sets on day 2 of the New Zealand Ultimate Championships, the sun rises on Oben, Tan, Van Turnhout coming out on offense for the Barbarians, hoping to claw it back, really push that men's side in preparation for the resolution of the coronavirus global situation that will allow them to compete again at a world level. Van Turnhout holsters. Whitlock doesn't, sends the big shot up. Tan with a fantastic layouts all over the place, except that brave man does not need to reserve them for the sand, giving absolutely everything in pursuit of the 6th point Barbarians put on the field. We're going to get to see it again. Whitlock with the big shot. Rutan, what a grab. Barbarians sending up a huge big shot. Barbarians coming out in a defensive zone.
Good patience from Tom Fraser.
Absolutely right. And again, under that defensive pressure of a zone, it is those old hands, Tom Fraser, who you want in charge of the disc, who know they've got the patience, they know the throws that they can make, they know the throws that other players can make. They're great at getting into position in order to keep the momentum moving in the direction they want it. Lee Yo now on the far sideline. Drops back to Fraser.
Signaling to his teammates to spread out and create more space.
Absolutely. McIntosh doing a great job of covering that space towards the near sideline, shutting down any disc movement in that space. Haberfield once again gives the hand signal saying he's wide open. Straight through the zone. Big hammer.
To wide.
Didn't need to move. We'll get to see that again. Haberfield. Back to Fraser. An inside-out backhand. And a huge hammer. Ben Waller with a pull, getting lost in the clouds. Furness looking to initiate as Taniwha come down with their own zone defense. Mercer, huge backhand with a lot of inside out. A hospital pass, if ever I've seen one, brought down by, to the surprise of no one, the giant Nick into the air. First and last touches on the disc, all the way from upfield. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players underneath as Whitlock comes down with it.
Making it look so effortless.
So quick in terms of acceleration that he's run himself out of his cleats several times, as you can see that they're still taped together.
Barbarians looking like they're throwing that loose junkie zone again.
Great bid by Cameron Bennett, but it's not enough. Taniwha now finding their groove, starting to get warmed up. Scuba over the top, followed by a hammer. Blades on blades, Hargett in that end zone. If you see him there with even the slightest separation, just put something fast. Hamilton Agents Field and Blueberries all having one win, one loss over the other, like a giant game of rock, paper, scissors. And so the road to the finals for the women's division is still wide open for almost anyone to take. It's going to be a fantastic match. I cannot wait to see it. If we're lucky, my partner in crime, Kelsey Bielek, will be able to meet me in the commentary box to help commentate that one.
Ooh.
A great overthrow, but Riley Van Turnhout, quick
Running
acceleration, keeps the possession.
Deep in the end zone. Barbarians looking to work their way up. Oh, bit of a fumble by Riley, but he manages to keep it in his safe hands. And a massive rip from Miller. Oh, and a great sky by Whitlock. What do we expect?
Nick Whitlock putting the roof up.
Now he's looking for that score.
Goalposts, 10-8. Such acceleration to put him in the end zone. You'll see that the mark he just left the screen with is not the mark he comes back with. Ben Waller trying to call the switch. Great athleticism from Waller, but...
Players against the top players in New Zealand. Such great development for them.
Haberfield fields the disc nicely. And again, a couple of passes to just work their way up the field. Dave Sanders streaking deep. There's an option available to him. Yo wants to rip it, but he's pressured by Haney on the defense. Forced to look backwards, finds Haberfield. Secure hands, keep the disc in Taniwha possession. Michael Downey near sideline, marked by Peter Hoban. Once again, huge defensive pressure, stopping those big shots getting wound up. Taniwha players streaking deep, getting that separation, but again, the defensive pressure just enough to stop those hucks going away. Lee Yo. We've seen him play for Space Invaders for Hoodie Party.
Oh, huge layout from Arik. Was it Arik? Yeah.
Great shot through to McIntosh. Quick continuation passing. Hoban on the far sideline, marked by Michael Downey, sends the hammer up.
Oh, Arik to score.
A beautiful defense to generate the turn and then managing to close off with the score. A great pinpoint hammer by number 6, Peter Hoban. We could not be more grateful for the support of Sky Sport Next, and We Are Canterbury for putting us up here in the bird's eye nest, giving us an opportunity to talk you through at home what is happening on the field as New Zealand Ultimate, our community, comes together to highlight the very best play, not only in our country, but possibly in the world. Leo, marked by Van Turnhout, far sideline, signaling for space, telling his players where he wants those cuts. Haberfield with a great explosive cut. Huge movement up the field, so quick from the Taniwha side. Almost without hesitation, seeing open players, hitting them with the disc immediately. Troy Stevenson puts one up. The reach and the timing. We get to see that again. Great up the line cut. Cam Bennett gets there just in time. Marked by Troy Stevenson.
You know, your defenders are your downfield are making such amazing cuts like this one, and then not being able to hit that is really, really tough, but it's all about the best option you can take.
Absolutely. Van Turnhout gets a bit of a slip. Big fakes, able to shift the mark. Taylor Nart's great breakthrough under the arm, outstretched arm of the defender. Sends a laser beam up. Rutan with a second opportunity. Oh, him stumbling.
Oh. The excitement in the crowd.
We'll see it again. There it is. Had to fall into it. Defense Haberfield and Fraser in that handler space. Yo making cut for space, trying to draw a defender in.
Nando looking deep, wanting that big long shot.
Tries to rip at the zone pressure defense from the Barbarians is enough, or perhaps just having players in that space.
Handler's really treasuring that disc.
As they've no doubt been trained to do. Lee Yo, great cut up the near sideline, puts a long shot up. Haberfield again, in Taniwha up over the Barbarians, but still a great game that we're seeing. It's not over yet. And despite the fact that one more time as he puts the disc up to pull, the height, the float that these players are able to get, the control on the disc, it's going to drop back inbounds. Brickmark looking to initiate that offense as early as possible. He's got big, powerful throws, but instead he's forced back by the defensive pressure of the Taniwha. Hamish Furness putting one through, a great grab. One more time, Miller Mercer with the desk, working back, finds Whitlock. Haney streaking deep, a great opportunity. Speed, the vision. Just a little bit unlucky on that. Irresistible target for Nick Whitlock. Matt Furs now with the desk. Finds Ben Waller, who puts one of his own up. Joe Smith. Joe Panaya going for it, but just that pressure. The desk finding space instead. Mercer with a big shot again. Turn back the other way.
Taniwha with a quick pickup.
The jump was too high for the desk, which just speaks of the athleticism that we're seeing on this Barbarian side. Long points like this just mean both teams are playing really great defense. Fitzpatrick Cockram has the desk. Centerfield finds Sanders. Furs going deep. Not an option today. Ben Waller with the desk on the near sideline. A quick reset to Joe Panaya to find Matt Furs, Centerfield. A great, so again, pursuit interference. Well done now, up over the Barbarians. You cannot be mad, the cheeky little... Ben Waller this time, keeping the pull in bounds, much to the dismay of Miller Mercer.
Callahan territory. The crowd screaming for it.
Absolutely right. So as Barbarians work to move the desk up out of their own end zone, every throw is an opportunity for an interception that would lead to a score for the Taniwha. Questionable throw, but it's managed to kept in by Mercer. Great hammer over the top. Hoban with a long shot. And a great close. Great score there. The crowd are chanting, Ryan, Ryan. Beautiful. I could not agree more. Nicholas Whitlock with a long flat pull. Edge and roll, that's exactly what he wants. It goes just out the back, so that's going to give enough time for the Barbarians defense to get into position as the disc is brought back up to the front of the end zone where it went out. The option is there to initiate play from the zone, not having to bring it to the front. The big wings of Nicholas Whitlock. Not enough to stop Haberfield getting the disc, sending a long shot up. Dave Sanders wants the chase. I'll bet they're proud of themselves for that. Cameron Bennett. Nicholas Whitlock very free under. Looked off in favor of a target on the far sideline, marked by Dave Sanders. Continuing to thread. McIntosh, marked by Joe Panaya Smith. Great up the line movement by Whitlock. In position, sends a hammer of his own. And get the score. Great pull, nice edge, touching down, a little bit of roll, but it's stopped by the Taniwha offense.
Very quick movement between the Taniwha handlers and a massive shot.
Peter Boardman underneath it. The leggy lefty hitting full speed. No hesitation. Great big pull. One more time, Miller Mercer.
Looking for the big, and he sends it.
Number 8, Nicholas Whitlock.
How long do you guys have to go?
What a grab. Join us for this showcase game. If I had to pick any match so far to tell you what New Zealand Ultimate is like, this would have to be, if not the best, then definitely one of. Just fantastic athleticism, skill, vision, teamwork on display. Haberfield on the far sideline from Fraser. Big high reset, Riley, not enough to get to it. Fraser and Yo back the other way, great disc movement, trying to work around the defense. Haberfield now. Fernando looks back for Stevenson.
Nando streaking deep, wanting that score, but looked off.
Haberfield puts one up. Stevenson pulls it in 12, a game to 15. Taniwha to come out on defense. Barbarians still in it. Ben Waller again with the pull. As the sun has set, the stadium lights and the hearts of these players, the only things. Pulled it out of bounds one more time.
Not something that happens very often.
Not at all. Peter Hoban, far sideline, finds Cam Bennett. Sends the big shot up.
Just over the hands of Arik.
Hamish Furness marking up against Andrew Neil, who puts one out into space to Matt Furs. Fitzpatrick Cockram, near sideline. Great fake rip, gets a bite out of Cameron Bennett. Ben Waller now, marked by Hoban, looks backwards instead. Finds Matt Furs, marked by Miller Mercer. Fitzpatrick Cockram again. Ben Waller making great cut into the end zone for space, but looked off. Neil quickly dishes off. Joe Pania-Smith working with Ben Waller now in that handler space. Rutan and Pete Hoban in that defensive space. Great thread by Matt Furs to find Fitzpatrick Cockram. Ben Waller now hoping for something to develop in the end zone. Wanting to close out this game. A bit of a stumble. Oh. Eric goes up for it.
First throwing a lefty backhand.
Oh, please let us see it again. The lefty backhand, maybe he needs to take a couple of lessons from Campbell now. Body contact, the foul looks to have been retracted. The conditions are low, there's not a lot of wind. We know they've got those long throwers and they put one up. Pete Hoban. Ben Waller, slightly better position. Great. Finds Neil. Joe Pania-Smith wants to put a big one up. Finds Waller in the midfield. Marked by Hoban. Goes back to Pania-Smith. Some great clinical disc movement that we're seeing from the Taniwha side. Working around that defense without too much trouble. It's only on those long shots that they seem to be being shut down by the Barbarians' athleticism. Furs again using his dominant hand for a change. Finds Panaya Smith just outside of the zone.
On a push.
Taniwha go up 15-12 to seal the game after time cap over the Barbarians, who put up an impressive, amazing effort to push us as Taniwha take the men's showcase game at this, the conclusion of the second day of the 2021 New Zealand Ultimate Championships. My name is Blair Munro.
And I'm Becky Farr.
It has been an absolute privilege to be joined by you in the commentary booth.